Sonic Robo Blast 2, made by Sonic Team Jr., is a 2020-year-old 3D Sonic fan game and still going, running on the Legacy Doom engine that takes what 2D classic Sonic was all about and turns it into 3D. This review will tackle the 2.2.8 vanilla version, so this review might get outdated in some parts once another update comes out. Also, spoilers ahead. Damn, I can already feel the polish just by looking at that title screen. The first time you start the game, it will ask you to play a tutorial. You can skip it and go straight to the action, but it's really recommended since the controls aren't what you will expect. They are similar like modern FPS shooters, which might be a bit off to someone. But believe me, it's playable, and even better if you are using a gamepad. The tutorial itself does a good job at explaining how to play step by step, from basic movement to camera to special abilities. Weirdly enough, if you play with a gamepad, they won't show you the gamepad controls and will still use the keyboards, which I find odd. It's not something too bad, but they will make you struggle a bit if you prefer to play that game that way. Still, the controls are really solid, but with a rare but occasional unexpected change in direction due to the cameras being stuck. As for the content, this game includes single player, multiplayer, and extras. Inside single player, you can choose to start the game, record attack, Knights mode, marathon run, and the tutorial I mentioned before. This review will focus only on the single player content. Once you start the game, you are asked to select a character: Sonic, with or without Tails, Tails alone, or Knuckles. If you want to experience the full challenge, play as Sonic only. In the single player campaign, you will be going through 8 zones and 25 levels, each one having their own personality thanks to the gorgeous art, music, enemies, and unique mechanics each act has, which complements every character's abilities. I also recommend you to approach the level design like you would on Sonic 3, because each act is filled with tons of secrets to discover. More on that later. Let's start with Green Flower Zone. Green Flower Zone is your average Green Hill Zone. Tons of safe platforms, no bottomless pits, simple enemies, and really short acts. I wish it wasn't another Green Hill Zone though, still a solid act. Techno Hill Zone is the mechanized zone of the game. I feel that the game truly starts here with its difficulty. Still easy, but the few buzz can take a couple lives if you are not careful. I love the brown reddish tone that contrasts the grey mechanized portions of the level. Its main gimmick is the purple water, which is less dense than the characters, and it's used organically throughout the level. Deep Sea Zone is the obligatory, and I say with a huge comma, water level of this game. Thankfully enough, it's not as bothersome as Labyrinth Zone. The underwater movement isn't as obnoxious, and the level design complements that. But some of the side paths you can take will kill the pace, and shouldn't have been there in the first place. Lovely music though. Castle Eggman Zone is when the difficulty really steps up. There's quite a good amount of bottomless pits and swinging spike balls, so you will need to be more careful here. I really liked the little scripted sequence where the floor collapses before you can finish the first act. I also love the aesthetic and it's portrayed really well. Arid Canyon Zone introduces tornadoes, TNT, and rope bullets, for example. It absolutely looks like a canyon because of its beautiful graphics and its unique layout. There's also a few Looney Tunes references here and there, which I didn't expect, but I welcome nonetheless. Red Volcano Zone is your lava reef zone equivalent with a bit of tropical landscapes here and there. You'll die quite a lot if you don't pay attention to the lava pools below you, unless you play as a flying type character like Tails. This zone feels unfinished though. I hope they add a second act in a future update, because it really needs it. Egg Rock Zone is the least favorite stage for me. Its main mechanic is space, low, and inverted gravity. By far the most challenging zone as expected. Hazards like lasers, no oxygen, and disappearing platforms will kill you a few times guaranteed. I still like that they try to include sequences to shake the level design a bit, like the airlock part, and the 2D sections. Nice touch. After finishing the 2 previous acts of each zone, except for Red Volcano, a boss will show up. Its structure is similar to Sonic 1 when it comes to the 3 acts, but there's no level in the 3rd one. I think 2 is the sweet spot when it comes to the actual levels, and they knew it as well. The first boss is the most basic one I have seen, which is made on purpose due to the Green Flower Zone being so basic. I'll take the lasers over the damn spinning ball anytime. Techno Hill's boss fight is a step down from the previous boss. Overall, it's much easier to deal with. It's too predictable, and the attack patterns feel uninspired. I wish they did something with the purple water instead, who have been more original than this mess, and the second phase doesn't fix it. Dipsy Zone's boss fight starts with Eggman on the floor, throwing a circular laser followed with missiles. Phase 2 includes 2 fake Eggmans that will only throw missiles at you, so it's easier to identify the real one. Compared to the previous one, this is much better in general, and has a good difficulty curve. Castle Eggman's boss starts with Eggman staying in the middle, while 3 lines of spike balls rotate around him. This one will punish you if you don't pay attention to the giant buttons on the floor, which is a nice change of pace. The more damage you deal, the less safe spots you have and the faster it rotates, culminating in breaking from the inner circle and using this spectator field to finish the job. Alongside Dipsy Zone's boss fight, the difficulty curve can be seen easily. Arid Canyon Zone's boss is quite refreshing. This time you are not fighting Eggman, but an obscure character called Fang the Sniper. First phase starts with him throwing bombs and shooting at you at a slow pace after landing. But second phase bumps the difficulty instantly, destroying the upper part of the cargo, making you vulnerable to knockback. Really good change of pace, and I wish all the boss fights were as original as this one. Egg Rock Zone has 2 bosses. First is against Metal Sonic. Phase 1 is clearly inspired from Sonic CD, so you will need to run to the finish line before Metal does. This boss fight will really test the platforming skills you have acquired through the game, and I really like its execution. The second phase is a more standard boss fight, because Metal Sonic only uses energy spheres to attack. Quite uninspiring and forgettable. I haven't already seen this same attack from other fan games, and I wish they did something else about it. The third phase, though, shakes things up. This time Metal will charge at you as a desperate move to finish you off. But overall, if we see the entire Metal Sonic boss fight as one encounter, I will still say that this boss fight was really well done and fun to play and mess around it. The second boss is the final boss of the game. Eggman will attack you inside an electrical suit, hurting you if you plan to attack him. So in order to inflict damage, you will need to lure him into the poisonous water. That will deactivate its force field and you will be able to hit it. Every time you hit Eggman, he will do one of 2 attacks. The more damage he takes, the faster it moves, which might throw you off while luring him into the water. There's also the fact that after a while, the barrier around the arena will disappear, making you vulnerable again to knockback. I think that this encounter works really well as a final boss. The entrance to the arena and the unique music and sound effects really sets the tone really high. Once it's beaten and you run into the escape pod, the ending will play. Here's where, depending if you obtain all the emeralds, you'll get the true ending or not. If you didn't, the game will end with Eggman's base still floating around and reactivating itself. But if you did, the asteroid will break its chains from the base, destroying it for good with a cute fireworks show. Throughout the zones, you will find numerous different power-ups, which include from the typical and well-established speed shoes to the new inclusions like the Whirlwind Shield. I will tackle only the new additions to the roster, which are the Attraction Shield, which attracts rings and enables you to lock on enemies. Force Shield. If you use it, it will stop any momentum you had, and it takes 2 hits to break instead of the usual one. The Armageddon Shield, which acts similarly like Hypersonic's Flash in Sonic 3. Once it's active, it wipes any enemies in a certain radius. It can get activated as well if you get hit. The Whirlwind Shield, my favorite. It enables a double jump. Really helpful for gaining altitude and correcting your jumps. The Elemental Shield, which protects you from elemental damage, like fire, drowning, and suffocation in space. You can also stomp into the ground and leave trails of fire while spin dashing. All these shields, especially the ones that grants you extra abilities, complement perfectly the gameplay and adds a good amount of variety on the overall moveset of the characters. This one really makes you want to keep them at all times, and losing them really feels punishing. Inside those same acts, you can also find numerous collectibles, which are emerald tokens and emblems. 5 emblems are scattered throughout the act, and the time and ring emblem can be obtained in record attack mode. Emerald tokens, like the name suggests, gives you a chance on a special stage inspired by the series of games called Knights, and it's a complete recreation of Knights' most basic gameplay. This one is easily one of the strong suits of the game. Special stages are incredibly original and well designed, each one being in a different zone, like Toxic Plateau, which has the best music in the game. If you don't think Toxic Plateau is the best track in the game, you are wrong, and I am right. Don't at me. Obtaining all the emeralds will unlock the super form of your character as expected, but not exactly. Only Sonic, Knuckles, and Metal Sonic are the ones that can actually take the advantage of the emeralds and become super. By playing the game normally and obtaining emblems in the process, you will be able to unlock additional content, which includes new levels and characters. Each unlockable requires a specific criteria. Characters like Metal Sonic and Fang are more straightforward to unlock, and getting Amy will require you to obtain a short number of emblems. If you want to see everything that this game has to offer, you'll need to clear everything and obtain every single emblem in this game. Speaking of emeralds, you might think that if you obtain all the 7 emeralds, there will be a true final boss at the end. But there isn't one. This is more of a nitpick, but I don't understand it. I feel that every Sonic game that tries to encapsulate the feel of the games like Sonic 3 should have that. Heck, even the Sonic Advance trilogy has it. And that's a lost opportunity for casual people that just want to get the emeralds. Still, this doesn't affect much the overall score, because the extra unlockables feel a bit this boy. Now I will just go over a few other features. First, the multiplayer, which can be accessed just below the single player. And you can join and make your own servers, even play split screen co-op. Joining some servers might require you to download content, so it could take a bit of time before connecting. Speaking of downloadable content, you can download and add new campaigns with new levels, other characters, 3D models, and more. There's even a Mario Kart reimagining of Sonic Robo Kart 2 that I might tackle in the future. Just download the WOT files and the PK3 files you will need, put them in the add-ons folder, and then just add them in-game. So after taking a look at the game in general, with its gorgeous art and graphics, unique and brilliant yet sometimes faulty level design in a few instances like the Oopsie Zone space, new power-ups, incredibly fun to control characters, tons of unlockables, the ability to enjoy this game in multiplayer, and the ability of modding, makes me want to give this game a 10 out of 10. But because of Deep Sea Zone's pace-killing side paths, the weird restriction with super forms, and the lack of originality to some of the bosses, I'm still looking at you, Technohill, lowers the score to a still respectable 8 rings out of 10. If you want to enjoy this game yourself, since it's free, or you forgot where to find this game, head over the official Sonic Robo Blast 2's website and follow the instructions. If it's too hard for you, just search for a tutorial on how to do it. Before I finish, I want to share that Sonic Robo Blast 2, for me, is what 3D Sonic was meant to transition officially first. I still liked a few modern titles like Colors, but I would honestly take this game over all modern Sonic titles, combined. Take note, Sega, this is what 3D Sonic was meant to be. Thanks for watching. Did you like my review? Is there something I missed? Or is there something I said wrong? Would you like me to cover any other game? If so, please reply in comments below. I will be leaving now. See you in 2 weeks, everyone. Goodbye.